On today's Toy Spot, continuing along with my reviews of the initial Justice League and then Justice League Unlimited figures, today we're going to be looking at Hawkgirl. And Hawkgirl was actually not one of the original released figures that included this stand. It actually happens that the Hawkgirl was released later on. So the interesting thing is that all the other figures, as you will see, all form Justice League. Hawkgirl was completely left out, so much so that when she was released with her stand, you'll notice that there's nothing included word-wise on her stand. There's no letters or anything like that. You can see this says Justice League Winged Avenger. I still remember, and this was years back when this happened, I still remember when this Hawkgirl was released, the prices that she was going for on eBay were just mind-boggling. I couldn't believe how much these Hawkgirls were going for. And you imagine how small this figure is and what articulation she does have, which I'll get into in a second. But you can imagine, though, how basic this figure is. And she was going on eBay for like 50, 60. I saw one going for $80. This figure was rare. It was rare. It wasn't medium rare, it was rare. And actually, this is the only way that Hawkgirl has ever come out in. She has slight repaints along the way. Most notably, she eventually had the unmasked version of Hawkgirl, which I'll do a review of later on. But she has not ever come out with the multi-articulation in the elbows and the knees, certainly because of how small she is. But I mean, really, they haven't. I think they released one or two of them standalone card, but Hawkgirl really was not released very much at all. In the way of her articulation, she has no articulation in the head because she is much like Wonder Woman. She's got her hair pegged or glued into her back. Her wings are not articulated either because they're also pegged into her back. So really the only articulation that you get with her is the arms and the very awkward legs, which do that. Yeah. Not really a lot to say about this figure. I can tell you this, though. The unmasked version of Hawkgirl sold probably on eBay for twice as much as what the masked version was. The unmasked Hawkgirl came in a 3-pack, and I know Green Lantern was one of them. I couldn't remember the other one, but like I said, I'll get to that when I do the review of that set. But the card, like I said, the base, does not come with any letters. There's nothing on it. But she does come with the same motion card that the other League members came with. And you can peg it into place here. And she's got these little tiny holes on her feet. You can peg that right into her display stand. And though she doesn't really stand very well, there you go. There you have Hawkgirl in her stand. One other thing as well to mention is I don't believe Hawkgirl ever came with her mace. She came with her mace later on in the waves, but I don't believe the initial release Hawkgirl came with a mace, which really is the only downside to it. Certainly if you've picked up Hawkgirl, then later on you would have had a mace for this one. But anyways, though, I'll wrap this up here. That concludes a small chunk of it, but that concludes the reviews of all the Justice League members from the initial wave, the wave that came with the base stands. What I'll do now is I'll do a review of all 4 of the figures on display, so you guys can see them all on display. So stay right there, and I'll get this all set up, and I'll be right back. All right. So if you've collected all the same initial wave first Justice League figures as I have here, you probably will end up with something like this. As you can see, all the members here of the Justice League, all 7 of them. And the only unfortunate problem is the fact that, like I said, Hawkgirl does not have any letters or anything with it. I suppose they could have put an exclamation mark or something. But as you can see, you've got them all on display here. I've already commented on this before, but I guess it makes sense I guess it makes sense to have Superman in the middle. I know originally I said it would made sense if he was on the end, because he was the leader. But I mean, really, I guess with the way the team members are laid out, you know, you probably would want them all on display with Superman in the middle. So, I mean, you know, I kind of take back what I said. Yes, it does kind of make sense. But very basic figures, like I said. I mean, you know, they're several years old, though they've used, you know, the same mold for all the figures that are out now. But I will try to go through, do individual reviews of some of the sets, individual figures. But I just figured I'd give you guys just a brief overview, give you guys a view of all the figures on display, so much so that you can't even see them all on display here. But, you know, an interesting set. Like I said, this is a set that I probably will have on display on its own, and then if I have any of the League members on display, I'll have them all separate, and I'll have these guys on their own. But hope you guys enjoyed it. That was my series of reviews, doing a cover of all the Justice League members from the first wave. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more Justice League reviews on the way, and I'll see you guys then. Later.